In this edition of Whiteboard Weather, we turn the calendar from March to April. I tell you what to expect this month, and we get into some weather headlines, all coming up after this. Okay, we have a whiteboard, we have a bunny rabbit, and we have some weather, so let's get into it. I adjusted a little bit of the bunny rabbit. I may want to add some, I don't really have a pink color. I was thinking of doing a little bit of this. Does that kind of work? I don't know, last week it looked more like a dog than it did a bunny, but I probably shouldn't do any more adjustments to that. No update to the snow ruler, although April sees about an inch to two on average in the Scranton area. Obviously not every year sees snow. Some years a little more, some years a little less, but April about an inch of snow. So I'll just write that down for the time being. What to expect in April, 1 inch of snow. I'll put that with a big question mark. So let's talk about the month of March. We broke the streak in the Scranton area and pretty much area wide, 5 below normal months. That ended in the month of March. We were 4 degrees above average with an average high of 53 and an average low of, I'm gonna forget, no, it was 30, 33. So much above average. And that 14 was a 15 degree improvement from February. So yeah, we certainly sprung up here in the first month of meteorological spring, which is hard to believe. The first month of meteorological spring is already over. The things are happening fast. So the month of March on average, again, 4 degrees, and we saw only 0.9 inches of snow, which is below average. We usually see 7 to 8 inches. So the snowfall, thankfully, we didn't see a lot of it. I think we're pretty much sick and tired of all the snow. The ski resorts are still open in some cases. But as far as April, expecting not snow in the immediate forecast, but 1 inch of snow on average. The average high goes from 54 to 68. It's the month we gain the most warmth on average. And the average low goes from 34 to 45. So that's what to expect. And we get 1 inch of snow, but we also get 3.2 inches of rainfall. So yeah, that's pretty much it. If you want to watch the Easter forecast specifically, I'm trending away from giving specific forecasts unless there's something cool happening. So we'll talk about some weather headlines around the world. In a new segment I like to call Weather Around the World. Now, the problem with this is it's going to be very much centered into the United States, which is right there. Do you see right there? Here's Africa, Europe, part of Asia, South America. Again, it's not about the artistry, it's about whether you know what's happening. So I want to talk about two places. I want to talk about somewhere that's actually off the map. In Alaska, I want to talk about the desert. Excuse me. I should cut that. But the desert Southwest, and then I want to talk about Scranton. So all it's concentrated into the northwest corner of the map. So let's talk about Alaska first, right? So we had a brutal cold winter, and Alaska's big headline for the day is that their average high in the month of March was 7 degrees with an average low of negative 22 degrees. The coldest we saw all winter was negative 3. So the average was negative 22. In fact, another cool thing about Alaska is they just broke 150 days sub 32. Not sub 32 for the low temperature, sub 32 for the high temperature. In Scranton, we saw 18 days below 32 degrees. So imagine 150. That's 5 calendar months. So that was crazy. That is the second longest of all time. And they're seeing one of their coldest winters. In fact, last year was one of their warmest winters. So we're going from one of the warmest to one of the coldest. And the records go back about 100 years. So that's just a little bit of perspective for Alaska. The next thing I want to talk about is Phoenix, Arizona. Hopefully I spelled this right. No. Phoenix, Arizona. I think March Madness, isn't the University of Arizona play there nearby? So Phoenix, Arizona, right? This fact is going to blow your mind, okay? So in the month of March, right, records go back 130 years. The month of March, 9 days, 100 plus. The average high was 93, and the average low is 64. Again, Scranton, average high 53, average low 33. So about 40 degrees were above where we were for the month of March, and it only warms up from here. If you had to take a guess, right, how many days in their 130-year history have they seen above 100 days in March? So we saw 9 days, 100 plus. How many days have they seen 100 or more in the month of March in their 130-year history? It only happened one time previous, and they did it 9 times in the month of March. So, yeah, that's your weather around the world, aka weather in Northwest Hemisphere. Eventually, I think I'll explore areas like in Africa and stuff like that. It's just easier to draw, no copyright needed, just good old-fashioned drawing. So when you're comparing Scranton to Alaska to Phoenix, a lot of weather here across the continental United States. That's this edition of Whiteboard Weather. Have a happy and safe Easter, and I'll see you next week.